Ukraine's rocket systems and tactical drones.
Good morning, everybody.
Ukraine forces have used U.S.-made rocket launchers and tactical drones to destroy dozens of Russian targets and hold at bay Russia's larger and more heavily equipped forces. There has been several arrests for cryptocurrency fraud.
Federal prosecutors are announcing the first insider trading case involving cryptocurrency. U.S. prosecutors in New York City said Thursday that a former product manager for Coinbase and two others have been charged with wire fraud. A U.S. attorney in Manhattan said fraud is fraud whether it occurs on the blockchain or on Wall Street. From the West Coast USA Radio News Bureau, I'm Lance Pride.
This is USA Radio News.
Hi, I'm Wade on the Root. If you like my radio show, you're going to love my podcast, War Raw. Each podcast, I present my top 10 most outrageous, salacious, and controversial stories of the week. I break down the best of the best, raw truth stories for conservatives, libertarians, patriots, taxpayers, Trumpers, and deplorables. Anyone who appreciates God, guns, gold, and tax cuts will stand up and cheer for War Raw. Check out this week's War Raw podcast right now. It's available to download at iTunes, Spotify, iHeart, or wherever you listen to podcasts. War Raw. War Raw.
Ethan Crumbley, the accused Michigan school shooter, will remain behind bars in adult jail. Crumbley was in court Friday for his monthly hearing on if he can be moved to a children's juvenile center. The judge in Pontiac, Michigan, denied that request. Crumbley is accused of killing 4 students and injuring 7 others at Oxford High School in November of last year when he was 15 years old. His trial is set to begin in January. Americans are paying near-record prices for used cars. A report from the car shopping app Copilot reveals the going rate is about $10,000 above pre-pandemic levels. It puts the average price for a used vehicle at over $33,000 in June. That's a 0.5% increase from May and just below the survey's peak in March. Copilot's CEO saying the demand for used cars remains strong. This is USA Radio News.
A federal judge in Texas has dismissed a lawsuit by the Texas Democratic Party that sought an order to allow mail-in voting for anyone who so chooses. The decision means that the state can continue to restrict no questions asked voting by mail to seniors, which the Democrats argue amounts to age and race discrimination. For USA Radio News, I'm Ellie Andrews.
Jeez.
The opinions expressed on this program.
Do you have that his CD?
What?
You looking for a CD?
I was looking for the CD, yeah.
Hometown Talk Radio.
Sure it's in there?
It's in there. I'll look for it after.
And their guests.
Or during a commercial break. No big deal. I'll be just during a commercial break.
Hey, what's happening? I mean, what's happening in Middleboro and surrounding towns? It's time for the Middleboro Week in Review with your host, Joey Driscoll. Stay tuned for news, Middleboro News, here on AM 1530 WVBF. Hey, Joey, what's happening?
There's Texas weather. Perfect. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Middleboro in Review. It is the 24th of July, 2022, and I want to say good morning to Dawn. Dawn, how are you doing on what seems like day 10 of this heat wave?
Day 100. Good, I guess. Hanging in there. Wow, it's been a little steamy and oveny out there. Oveny.
Yeah.
Oveny, right?
Yeah.
It's an oven, but oveny, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
yesterday was bad.
Yeah.
Yesterday was bad, regardless if you were outside or not.
Yeah. I just saying all the people who have to work on this weather, just take it easy, drink a lot of water, be patient. If you happen to be driving around and you see people out there working, remember, they're out working for you. They're out working to make things better. They showed up to work. They worked out in these hot, crazy weather. So things can move along. Work needs to get done, so just keep these people in mind as you drive by them.
Okay, we got our weather report here in just a second, but what is coming up for our show today? Well, it's going to be largely agenda-free, other than a couple of topics. We're going to do our transportation topic that we like to do here on the show, and we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of things to talk about with that. So we are going to do that. We're also going to talk about sports. I don't know how good of a week it was for Boston sports, but we'll dissect that during our sports segment. I thankfully didn't watch the Red Sox game. That's all I'll say on that for right now. The Red Sox game that happened on Friday.
You didn't have the scrapping, exciting tone of voice on the way in about the past game. I didn't see the bubbly, smiling Joey about the Red Sox, so I think the dissecting will be dissected.
Yes. All right. Right now it is currently 74 degrees outside in Taunton, here outside of our Taunton Federal Credit Union Studios at 14 Church Green. Today it will be 96 degrees outside and mostly sunny skies. Tomorrow, some relief will be coming. 88 degrees for the high and rain in the forecast. Hopefully that will cool things down quite a bit. It will definitely cool things down quite a bit tomorrow night. 65 degrees for the low, which I think has been the lowest low we've had in about a week. So that is some good news. Tuesday is going to be 87 and back to mostly sunny skies, and mostly sunny skies for the rest of the week in the upper 80s. So the heat wave is kind of still here with us.
It's dangerous.
It is still going to be very dangerous, even though it's only going to be, upper 80s, maybe low 90s. It's still going to be very dangerous. For this next couple of days here.
For the people who don't have AC, the houses are going to be warm after the heat wave leaves because it takes a while for all that heat to dissipate from the house. But if you have elderly neighbors, you have anybody, loved ones you care about, check on them. Check on pets. Make sure the pets have water. Okay, make sure the water dish is full for the pets because they're all day running around. And they need water, cat, dog. And make sure your elderly neighbors are all set. The AC is working. If their AC isn't working, maybe you can invite them over to your place until things get better, or help if you know how to fix an AC, or you know how to help somebody out, get them out of the jam. Do that. Be neighborly. Be kind to each other. Very important to get through this. I know tempers can flare because a lot of people do work out in this weather, and it does cook your brain.
Yes,
I work out in this weather, so it cooks your brain, and you're not right at the end of the day. So you got to think that everyone needs to be patient, especially on the driving part. Some people don't have AC in their vehicles, so that's tough. They go home to a warm house because they can't afford AC, or they don't have AC. It's just a tough few days for a lot of people, and just try to keep that in mind when you're zipping around in your car that has AC, your house has AC, and you happen to work out of the weather. You got to walk a mile in somebody's shoes to really know what people feel sometimes. Picture yourself as a landscaper or the construction guy or the construction woman or whoever's or any work, and just picture yourself in their shoes. And so you just try to be a little kinder and just a little bit more gentle towards everything, and because some people are going to be a little irritable, and they're going to be a little they're going to be burnt toast, per se.
Yeah.
It's tough on everybody who has to work on this. It's tough on everybody. Heat waves are a drag. A lot of people die during the heat waves, so you got to definitely keep an eye on your loved ones and neighbors. Very, very, very important to make sure you take care of that, or you're on the ball. It's just important, and pets too, like I mentioned.
All right, let's finish up our sports segment here. Not a sports segment. We'll get into that. Our weather segment.
I heard the sports segments on the way to work. Colorful metaphors, as Spock would say, right?
Yes. Not so happy Joey on the way to work when it comes to talking about sports. Anyway.
You interrupted my song, too, to talk about that.
74 degrees in Middleboro, a high of 95, a high of 87 tomorrow, and a high of 86 on Tuesday. Driscoll, North Dakota, currently 54, a high of 76 today, a low of 52 tonight. Monday, 82 degrees. 60 degrees for the low, and on Tuesday, 75 degrees, 55 for the low, and some rain in the forecast in Driscoll, North Dakota. Driscoll, Texas, 79 degrees, a high of 98 today, cloudy skies, low of 76 tonight. Monday, 98 degrees, and a low of 76, and on Tuesday, 98 degrees, with a low of 77, for Driscoll, Texas. All right, our sports real fast. There's not a lot to talk about. This is going to be a shorter segment today, but I assure you in about a month, we're going to have a lot to talk about. Patriots preseason gets underway in about 3 weeks. I believe training camp gets underway this upcoming week. I believe heard Wednesday, or if it's not going to be getting underway this week, it probably already got underway. I'm not sure about training camp. I know there's going to be a couple of public opportunities to go see the Patriots training camp, and I believe that's next week. I believe training camp has already started for some players. Some of the rookies and some of the other players who are returning from injury. I believe training camp has already started. Patriots have already started to make some moves. And I just don't feel like this is going to be a fantastic season for the Patriots. But, I mean, it's early. I mean,
Moriarty, what was the negative waves, Moriarty?
I could be very wrong. I could be very wrong.
You could be very wrong, right?
I could be very wrong. I could be saying
they haven't even started yet. You got the
I could be saying
fallout.
In about 4 weeks' time, when the preseason is over, that I have a positive outlook on the season. But we'll see. A lot of
again with the negative waves.
A lot of lack of interesting things happening this off season is giving a lot of people that opinion. But we'll see what happens. Anyway.
That's why they call it opinion, right?
Exactly, yes. So we'll see what happens in a couple of weeks when preseason gets underway. Preseason for the NFL gets underway on August 4th. That's 2 weeks. 2 weeks away. A little less than that. So Patriots are going to get underway pretty soon. So, all right. That's the Patriots.
You talked about the camp. They have the training camp.
Yeah.
I think one of the first times you went to the training camp, it was Pierce Playground field trip.
Yes.
Okay? Remember that? And it was Devin McCourty's rookie year, and you got his autograph.
Yeah.
So when was that? That was a little.
That had to be a decade ago.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even start he didn't play a game with the Patriots when you met him.
And
he was out
10
signing
years later
autographs with everybody. Huh?
Yeah, 10 years later, he's still with the team, probably one of our most important players,
Yeah,
if not the most important player.
Yeah.
Yeah, so very great. And his brother played here as well, Jason, who just retired as well. So just a great family of players.
That's
there.
funny because
Jason
out of all the players that were around, he took the most time to sign autographs and talk to people.
Exactly. Yes.
Not I'm not talking. Some of the other players did the same, but I noticed that Devin McCourty spent more time with the fans and talking to people. It wasn't just a quick autograph. Yeah, so that's good when you can respect your fans like that. And going into a new franchise, going from college to NFL ball.
Yes.
So it was something to see. I was impressed. And it was cool that the PS Playground we rode on the old school buses. That was cool.
All right, so moving on to the Bruins. The Bruins it looks like they're retaining their core team. They've added a couple of different players as well during the free agency period as well. I have a positive outlook with the Bruins. I think they are still a very good team. I don't think their Stanley Cup winning window has closed, so that is some good news there for the Bruins. And positive news for the Celtics. I think their window of winning an NBA championship is not closed. I think it's opened a little bit more.
They got as close as they could get
Yes,
this year.
I think it's opened a little bit more. I think they're a better team than they were coming out of the season. I really do. The adding of Malcolm Brogdon and some other role players as well. I think this team is going to be very good next year. And for the Warriors, it's very tough to repeat as champions. I will point that out. It's very tough to repeat in sports as champions.
But they'll do it.
But they might. They might. The Lightning almost three-peated. Three-peated, yeah. They almost won 3 in a row. So it can be done. It's difficult, but it can be done. But I think the roadblock that's going to be in their way is most of the Western Conference has gotten a lot better during this offseason already. So that's going to be their roadblock. And the Eastern Conference really hasn't gotten too much better. So the Celtics might have I'm going to say they might have a better road. It's still early in the offseason, so things could change. Kevin Durant could go to an Eastern Conference team, and we could be talking about a totally different thing. The Kevin Durant domino has not fallen yet. The Kyrie Irving domino has not fallen yet, so there's a lot of variables still to be talked about. So far so good for the Celtics. What is bothering me is the Red Sox.
No, I would have never known this morning.
28-5.
That's foul mouth teddy bear on the way to work.
28-5 on Friday in the L category, which I believe is tied for their worst loss in franchise history. The last time they lost like that was July 7th, 1923, 99 years ago. So when you're losing like that, it's very hard to get invested in a team that is losing like that, and they lost again last night. So they've started 0-2 in the second half of the year, and I don't see it being turned around at all. I don't see it. I think they missed the playoffs. As it stands now, I think they missed the playoffs. I think they're sellers at the deadline. I really do. I think they're sellers at the deadline, and I think that they don't make the playoffs this year. I think they have to rebuild. I really do. I think this has to be a rebuild for them. unfortunately, because of just how bad this team has been managed, and how bad the team has played. And I mean, it's not all the players. And we've had some unfortunate luck with the Red Sox. Chris Sale being injured again after returning from injury. He's back on the injured list because of, I believe, a broken thumb or a broken finger. One of those things. He won't be coming back for a while. I don't know if he'll be coming back at all this season. Just a lot of unfortunate things for the Red Sox this year. I don't feel too encouraged by how they've been playing. All right, so that is our sports segment. 7:25. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back. We're going to talk about the MBTA. Another thing I don't feel, both of us, me and Don, don't feel too encouraged by, especially the news this week. A lot of really bad things have been happening.
One good major bad thing happened on Thursday.
One major bad thing happened on Thursday. We're going to talk about as well.
Uncalled for.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. So, all right, we'll be right back here on Middleboro in Review for July 24th, 2022. You're listening to WVBA 1530 AM and 99.7 FM. Come on. There we go. All right. Gotta get that button looked at.
You should do it with a pencil.
It won't work.
No, really?
It's the button. Yeah, it's the button. Something going on with the button.
You gotta find your push on your finger.
Yeah.
Because I see Jim. He snaps it right away. He must have stronger fingers than you.
All right.
It can be done.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely can be done.
Motorcycle Association.
Like, it worked fine there. I just pressed it. It worked fine there. So I mean, it's a pain. It really is.
Our mission is to support
where's my
defend our country and freedoms.
Open this up to
Our focus is to help
Gmail
veteran care
quick.
facilities provide a warm meal, clothing,
Get my Today in Histories going.
or simply to say thank you
Gotta,
and welcome home.
I'm gonna do that a little early, I think.
All 50 states and living abroad. Many
I think
members
I should do
continue
that
to
a
serve
little
in
early.
our armed
Why not?
forces, with several serving in combat areas now. We sponsor and or participate
So I'm not
in
rushing
many
for time.
motorcycle-related charity events each year. And as a non-profit organization,
You got that read too right
donates
there.
various
Should be on my
veteran
phone.
care facilities
Okey-doke.
and veteran
We'll do that.
charities. To
Uh,
learn more
I'm gonna do my
about
Today in
Motorcycle
Histories,
Association
program
and
updates,
join or support,
things like that.
please visit
Next.
TV.
I thought you said you gotta go to MBTA. You just said you gotta talk about the end. Now you go.
I'm going to this segment. Yeah, this segment. Okay, wait. Being distracted. Hold on 1 second. 1, 3, 6. Okay, good. All right. Yeah, we're definitely gonna do that.
Moment with Martha. Each week, we present the latest information on health, legal, and lifestyle issues that affect you and your family. It's fascinating, fast-paced, and fun as we explore
All right,
all
this is
aspects
today's
of the Medicare
thing.
maze. So join me for
What
a
do we got?
Medicare Moment with Martha, Saturday mornings at 8 and
4,
Sunday mornings at 9
3.
on AM 1530 and 99.7 FM, WVBF, your hometown radio station.
Spark Street
Okay.
Auto Body, located at 48 Spark Street in Brockton, Massachusetts,
What
offers
do
the
we got
highest
here?
quality collision repair and complete auto service for your car.
Million Finn.
They are a direct repair shop for all major insurance
That's my
companies.
birthday.
You can reach them at 508-583.
I added one of these for some reason.
They're open.
Yeah, no, I added one of these because I really wanted to talk about it during the show. So,
Call them today.
all
You will
right,
not
good.
be
All right, so
disappointed.
that's what we'll do in the next segment after
508-583.
this one.
14.
We'll just do the MBTA stuff next. And then the last segment will be Today in History plus program update, program schedule, plus some other things.
Traditional country and
contemporary. And
So this is
sometimes
alright. So this is the
famous
MBTA
video.
segment. So what we're gonna do
Irish comedy.
is we
That's the
will
case from noon to
read
2, right here on WVBF,
this one.
1530 Trenton, Middleboro, and on the internet at
Do
hometowntalkradio.com.
briefly. Okay. I'll just do this briefly. Here. Alright. And we're back as I turn the music down here, and it is 7:30 here on Middleboro in Review. It is a warm 78 degrees currently, so it is getting warmer. Again, it's going to be in the mid-90s today once again. Alright, our MBTA segment, MBTA and transportation segment. So we're going to talk about Amtrak as well. There's some stuff that we want to talk about and make sure people know about Amtrak for this summer. There's some interesting things and some fun opportunities for local residents of Massachusetts for Amtrak this summer. So we'll talk about that in just a minute. But let's talk about the MBTA. This week, there was an incident on one of the Orange Line trains. A loose piece of metal sparked a frightening fire on an MBTA Orange Line train on a bridge over the Mystic River Thursday morning, forcing about 200 riders to evacuate. One jumped into the water. According to the MBTA, the flames and smoke started pouring out of the first car of the train. That happened around 6:45 a.m. Thursday, while it was on the bridge heading towards Assembly Station in Somerville. Power was shut off between Assembly and Wellington stations as riders frantically scrambled to get out of the train safely without touching the electrified third rail. Some climbed out through the windows in the first car. MBTA General Manager Steve Poftak said it appears a piece of metal of the bottom of the train came loose and hit the third rail, sparking the fire. And passengers describe hearing a loud explosion or a loud bang, and then smoke filled the train car. People tried prying open doors and punching the glass out of windows in order to get out. The MBTA said no one was hurt, and there were a lot of photos with this incident as well. You can definitely go and see these photos. They're incredible and frightening photos of this event. Don.
I saw the photos. Disturbing. You got people jumping out. Not sure if they got land on the third rail. I think the communication. They still had commuter trains going by. I know I listened to the news conference, and there is a fence between the commuter rail segment of the bridge and the subway segment of the Orange Line. But still, though, trains are still going by. They said the evacuation, they interviewed some people. They said it wasn't orderly as far as the train, but I can't speculate on that. I just heard what I heard on the news too. I'm just really basing my opinion, but it just pandemonium on the first car. It's just people jumping out the window. They're so lucky no one was hurt or killed on a bridge like that, really. And incident after incident after incident, it's frightening. That's all I can say of what's happened with the T. I don't know, like the Keystone Cops. It's unbelievable. One thing after another. It's just you can't write this in a story. You couldn't write this. You couldn't make this stuff up.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Joe?
I think it's sad that a lot of these things are happening with the MBTA, and it's just really bad. I mean, another thing that happened this week if you're following the MBTA on Twitter, they sent out a tweet that was incomplete. It was a tweet that probably shouldn't have been sent out. It was an incomplete tweet. It was a mess up. And a lot of people on Twitter had a field day with that. And it, again, that's just, it adds to the disasters, really.
They got a big PR problem.
Yeah.
They got a big PR problem, and I don't think I don't think they got their hand on the pulse.
No.
At all.
No.
They're not. They're just not running a tight ship. It's just they're letting a lot of things fly by. I mean, it's bad enough they were on a Saturday schedule for pretty much the whole month of June and into July during the weekday, so they can. The feds are involved. That's bad, you know.
Yeah, and when a governor is saying that abolishing or consolidating the MBTA is an idea and a conversation worth having, there's a lot of problems. The co-chair of the State's Transportation Committee also floated the same idea as well. This was an article that was done on Friday. And on Monday, State Representative William Strauss, a Democrat from Mattapoisett who serves as the House co-chair of the legislature's Joint Committee on Transportation, suggested he and his colleagues consider whether the agency should continue to operate separately from MassDOT. He said perhaps the time has come to consider merging the MBTA into the state's DOT. And he also said, I would invite people to start asking the difficult question, which is, why do we even have the T? He asked, why don't we have an overall transportation system?
Statewide, one banner. I mean, there's so many different transportations. You got the T, you got BAT, you have Gatra up here in Taunton, which I think's the golden child of transportation, because you don't have too much problem with the Gatra at all. But I think all the transportation agencies should be under one banner, one roof.
For his part, Governor Charlie Baker seems to be open to exploring the idea of folding the MBTA into MassDOT as well. I think it's certainly a conversation worth having, Baker said. He was on GBH's Boston Public Radio on Thursday. And he was asked about Strauss's.
But what goes with that, though? I mean, get a ball. I don't know about abolishing it. I don't know. I mean, because if you're going to do one thing, you're going to do it all at once. It has to be all under one umbrella. But what are you going to do? Now you're going to go paint every vehicle, take the T logo off.
It would
said money we don't have to
cost a lot of money.
To change signage and stuff like that. Take the T logo off everything. Come on,
it would cost a lot of money.
That's just it's just a waste of money, in my opinion. Just find out what the core problem is and fix it. That's it.
Yeah,
fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they have a lot of problems that they need to fix.
They're not shining because now with the pandemic ending and people starting to head back to the office, people need a T more than ever, and this is where it's really breaking down. So the whole idea of the T was to get people off their vehicles, cut down carbon emissions, monoxide, get people off the road, help traffic. With all, how many people rode that train on Thursday morning? Probably, I'm never going to ride the train again, at least the subway. They're just going to find another way into work. A lot of people. There's probably a lot of people who work in Boston are losing. Companies are losing good talent because they just can't handle the ride into Boston anymore. It's just so it's so undependable.
I think something that would help. I don't know how feasible this would be, but something that would help is maybe monthly inspections on the trains.
Well, they do that. They did that. They said, I think it was June 23rd is when they had that particular train car there that caught on fire, they inspected it.
They maybe need to do it more.
Well, I don't know if you can do it more. It's so much equipment. It's just the equipment is old.
Yeah.
1980, January 1980. That's when that subway car was put into service. Okay, so that's a while ago.
Yes.
And now they bought all brand new orange line cars, and they've been having problem after problem. So what's the deal? You buy something brand new and you can't use it? I mean, it's been an ongoing problem for 2.5. We'll be talking about the new orange line cars for what, 2 years now?
Yes. Yeah.
And then the red line vehicles?
Yeah.
For what? I mean, you can't build a better mousetrap. We've been building trains for years, and all of a sudden we can't build them anymore.
Yeah.
It can't happen. It's just we lost the technology how to.
It hasn't been good.
No.
All right. Well,
I think the battery technology isn't quite up to snuff.
yeah.
So they put stuff out, and they want zero emissions, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get it if no one takes the train to begin with.
Yeah.
All right. If you have such bad confidence on the public transportation, people are going to bet back in their vehicles. They're going to drive. They're going to be like, you know what? I'm not jumping off a train bridge. I don't have to jump out of a train vehicle because caught on fire. Maybe I'll drive in.
Yeah.
Okay. And plus, they're not helping out with the fare too. And there was a question that was asked by one of the press members to the general manager, T. Are you going to help out on pricing? He's like, we have no. He said, no. We're not going to help out with. We're not going to drop the fares. They're probably going to raise them. So they got to raise them so you can wait extra half an hour and jump out of burning trains. And there was a Green Line crash like last month, something like that. And then there was a derailment at Broadway, and then that tragedy of that man who was dragged back 3 months ago, and then the derailment at JFK UMass. What else? And then the commuter rail, whatever the problem. Well, there was that commuter rail problem up in those gates didn't go down over the winter, and that woman was killed. Her car was hit. But there's one good thing. I'll tell you one good thing. I think it was in May. The drawbridge for the Gloucester drawbridge, the Rockport commuter rail is open. So if you want to take a nice commuter rail out and hang around in Rockport, be my guest.
All right. So
that works.
Let's get into some positive stuff with Massachusetts and transportation. Amtrak's doing a lot in this state, especially the Berkshire Flyer that got underway a couple of weeks ago, and that is going to be a 2-year pilot.
But doesn't help us.
As well.
It doesn't help us, Massachusetts.
Well,
It helps New
it's
York.
in a route. It's in a route. It's a route. It's a Massachusetts route.
Yeah, from New York, not from Massachusetts.
Well,
I'd be more excited.
It's still.
Yeah, but it's great for
Massachusetts Amtrak. So.
Yeah. Western Massachusetts come from New York.
I didn't say local. I said
not at all.
Massachusetts. I said Massachusetts.
Not
I
at
didn't
all.
say local.
Where's our Boston train? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I think there should be more.
Well, they have
here.
one. They have the one train, the train that goes to Chicago, the Lakeshore Limited, one train a day. That heads out on that route, on that alignment, heads to the Berkshires.
And next year, there may be some talk about Western Massachusetts passenger rail service. Next year at some point. If there's more.
MBTA?
No, Amtrak.
Amtrak.
If there's more, I believe Amtrak, yeah. If there's more talk about that, we'll definitely talk about it. But Amtrak, for the East Coast, has been doing a lot. The East Coast of the United States has been doing a lot recently as well. So,
well, there was talk. Remember we went to Chester and we talked to Dave Pierce?
Yeah.
Over in Chester. He was the president of the railroad museum there. It's a beautiful museum. He gave us the best tour ever. And there was talk about maybe the commuter rail doing train service out to Pittsfield. And they were talking that they wanted to build a station in Chester, Mass, which is a good spot because it's really right in
It's a
right
very
in the
good
hills,
spot.
right in the hill.
It's a very good spot.
They have the room because they got that empty parking lot right there, so they could. But the logistics part too, that's where the hill starts because there used to be a roundhouse there back in the 1840s, and they had to add on equipment to make the hill heading up to Washington, Mass, heading west. But that was an idea. I mean, they were big on it. I saw posters there. We gotta go back there and see him.
All right, 7:45 a.m. We're taking another commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna do Today in History, program, schedule, and much more here on Middleboro Review. It is the 24th of July, 2022. We'll be right back on WVB at 15:30 a.m. and 99.7 FM. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe turn that up. That'd be a good idea. Go, perfect.
Can you push that a little? I can't.
What?
My phone.
Okay. All right.
I got my COVID-19 vaccination, and here's why.
All right. I want to talk about.
This is about facts. COVID-19 vaccines are safe and effective. Millions of doses have already been given in the United States, and these vaccines have the most intensive safety monitoring in U.S. history.
All right.
When you need more information, use a reliable source like the CDC website and get the facts.
Help protect your whole family
20?
by getting everyone vaccinated.
Good.
Vaccines are now
Got
available for
Tony Lopes
individuals
promo
6
to
months
do.
of age
Perfect.
and older. The COVID-19 vaccine has been shown to be safe, effective, and protective against serious illness.
I must have added that in there. I didn't add that in there.
What's that?
He must have added the Tony Lopes promo in there. I didn't add it in there.
Oh, cool. You gonna play
Just
it?
did, yeah.
Hi, I'm Tony Lopes, and you can join me
Yeah.
every Tuesday
It's the
morning
newest
from
one.
9 to 12
Got the new
for
one.
Coffee with Tony on AM 1530 WVBF. Your calls are always welcome. Great guests from week to week, from this area and from around the world. Enjoy a second cup of coffee. Join me every Tuesday from 9 to 12 on AM 1530 and 99.7 FM WVBF.
St. Vincent de Paul of Sacred Heart Church in Middleboro serves the residents of the towns of Middleboro, Lakeville, Carver, and
There's something I want
Our base of operations is
to
in the lower
do.
level of the parish hall on Oak Street.
talk about here.
Directly across the street from Sacred Heart Church in downtown Middleboro. At this time, we serve approximately 500 families in our service area, and many of them come to us for various types of aid. This can take many forms and include many of the following programs: utilities and rent assistance,
52.
clothing and furniture vouchers, and temporary lodging. For more information, go to SV.
All right, I gotta write up a new ad for this.
Middleboro.
I gotta
Why?
figure out for CBMA. Not for CBMA, for St. Vincent de Paul. I gotta write up a new ad for
How
that.
come?
Combat veteran motorcycles.
Still mentions the pandemic. One of the ads still mentions the pandemic.
All branches of the United States
I
Armed
mean,
Forces
we're kind of done
motorcycles
with that,
as a hobby.
so
Our mission is
kinda
to
gonna need to
support
get rid of that
those
ad.
who have defended our
I'm gonna
country
do that
and
this
freedoms.
next month here.
Services to
Yeah,
help
I gotta do
veteran
that.
care
Get rid of it.
facilities provide a warm meal, clothing, shelter, and
See which
guidance,
ones I can
or
keep
simply
playing
say thank you
and stuff.
and welcome home. We have members from nearly all 50 states and living abroad. Many members continue to serve in our armed forces, with several serving in combat areas now. We sponsor and or participate in many motorcycle-related charity events each year, and as a nonprofit organization, donate to various veteran care facilities and veteran charities. To learn more about the Combat Veteran Motorcycle Association and how you can join or support, please visit cvma2-2.org.
All right. And we are back here on Middleboro in review, and I will turn the music down now and put Dawn's mic back on, and we have a Today in History segment that I want to do. And I want to go briefly into one of the birthdays that we have as well. I want to go more into detail on one of the birthdays that we have. But let's do Today in History. So, 1567, Mary, the Queen of Scots, is forced to abdicate and is replaced by her 1-year-old son, James VI. Again, I'm going to say that again. 1-year-old son, James VI. 1866, during Reconstruction, Tennessee becomes the first U.S. state to be readmitted to Congress following the American Civil War. 1950, Cape Canaveral Air Force Station begins operations with the launch of a bumper rocket. July 24th, 1950, the opening of Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, or the beginning of operations. And in 1987, Hilda Crooks, at 91 years of age, climbed Mount Fuji. Crooks becomes the oldest person to climb Japan's highest peak. Birthdays on this day: 1897, Amelia Earhart, American pilot and author. 1909, John William Finn, American lieutenant and Medal of Honor recipient, and he was a sailor in the United States Navy. He was a chief petty officer, received the United States military's highest decoration, which is the Medal of Honor, for his actions during the attack on Pearl Harbor in World War II. As a chief aviation ordnanceman stationed at the Naval Air Station at Kennewaw Bay, he earned the medal for manning a machine gun from an exposed position throughout the attack, despite being repeatedly wounded. He continued to serve in the Navy, and in 1942 was commissioned an ensign. In 1947, he was reverted to chief petty officer, eventually rising to lieutenant, before his 1956 retirement. In his later years, he made many appearances at events celebrating veterans. At the time of his death, Finn was the oldest living Medal of Honor recipient, the last living recipient from the attack on Pearl Harbor, and the last United States Navy recipient of World War II. And he passed away in May 27th of 2010 at the age of 100. And there is a Medal of Honor citation that I would like to read. For extraordinary heroism, distinguished service, and devotion above and beyond the call of duty during the first attack by Japanese airplanes on the Naval Air Station, Kennewaw Bay, Territory of Hawaii, on December 7th, 1941. He promptly secured and manned a 50 caliber machine gun mounted on an instruction stand and in a completely exposed section of a parking ramp, which was heavily under enemy machine gun strafing fire. Although painfully wounded many times, he continued to man this gun and to return the enemy's fire ferociously and with telling effect throughout the enemy strafing and bombing attacks, and with complete disregard for his own personal safety. It was only by specific orders that he was persuaded to leave his post to seek medical attention following first aid treatment. Although obviously suffering much pain and moving with great difficulty, he returned to the squadron area and actively supervised the rearming of returning planes. His extraordinary heroism and conduct in his action are considered to be in keeping with the highest traditions of the naval service. That is John William Finn's citation. Medal of Honor recipient. Again, his birthday is today, July 24th, 1909. And our last birthday we have is 1964. Barry Bonds, American baseball player. And our deaths for today. 2 years ago, we lost Regis Philbin, American actor and television host. Don, your thoughts on our today in histories, birthdays, and our passing today.
Yeah, Regis Philbin passed away 2 years ago.
Yep, 2 years ago today.
I remember vividly after 9/11 when they started finally doing broadcasts on TV. It was a couple weeks. It was just news after. It was pretty much all the late night shows, all the programs were pretty much canceled. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the first things I watched, I think, was the Letterman, and Regis was on, and they were talking about it, and for some reason his voice was so soothing. It was kind of like, for me, it worked.
Yes.
Because I did, you glued to the nose, and that was like the first program I watched, and he's like, how dare they do that? How they were talking about it, but that's a vivid memory of Regis Philbin. I always liked him.
And your thoughts on John William Finn?
Yeah. Oh my God. I mean, it's just being a hero and just bravery to its finest. And that was a good read. I'm glad you were able to read that. And that's there's so many people who fought in the military, have been part of the military, who just extraordinary, just the sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Even if you didn't see any combat, you still could see it.
Yeah.
You still dedicated your life to 2 or 4 years, or maybe your whole life. Made it a career from everybody, from the Coast Guard, the Marines, the Navy, the Army, mm-hmm. the Air Force, and now we got the Space Force. So it's just that the read for you to read that, it just brings good cheer to my heart that there was so many brave people in World War II. I mean, if we didn't have those people didn't stand up, step up to the plate, and take care of business, I don't think we'd have a country today.
Yeah. All right, it's 7:57. Let's do our program schedule. What is coming up after us here in just about 2.5 minutes? We're done with today's show in 2.5 minutes. After us, after the news, actually, the USA Radio News, at 8:05 a.m., approximately, Bread of Life with Pastor Ortez Vancross. Today's program, Love Test, is the name of today's program. Then it's, again, great sermons every single week by Pastor Vancross. Again, today's program, Love Test. 8:30, the Rosary. One of 3 that we do during the week. We do the Sunday Rosary every Sunday at 8:30 a.m. At 9 o'clock, we are going to be doing Medical Moment with Martha, or Medicare Moment with Martha. A lot of great information about Medicare. There's a lot of interesting things going on with Medicare. A lot of big news. There's some news about Mark Cuban starting up a business that's going to help with cost of prescriptions. That'll be the topic of today's show. 9:30, Keys of the Kingdom with Pastor Naomi Burton. Another great program with great sermons. And there's some great music in there as well. At 10 o'clock, All on God with Edna Isaac. Again, great sermons as well. That's a 1-hour program, 10 to 11. 11 to 12, we have Musical Odyssey with Ed Sutka. And speaking of Ed Sutka, we're going to have him on next week. Or we're going to have him on and his son on as well next week. Or at least his son. I'm not sure if Ed will be on as well with us, or
He wasn't sure if he was going to call in.
Yeah.
I think we're going to chime in on that.
but his son will be
Yeah.
on with us next week. We'll have more information on that during the week. So he's on from 11 to 12, and great classical music. 12 to 2, Sounds of the Emerald Isle with Jim Larkin, 2 hours of great Irish comedy and Irish music. And to finish off the Sunday, Stand Up Strong with Ed Miller and Bishop Tony Branch. Great news around the Brockton area and nationally that they talk about as well. So it's 8 o'clock. We're going to go off to the USA Radio News, and we will talk to you next week. Bye, everybody. All right, let's see here. Fresh news again. Goodbye, everybody.